and it makes you appreciate. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of pent-up emotion. Just to want to be respected as a team and to be looked at as a winner. And yeah, I've cried plenty. I probably cried more today than I have probably in the last, I don't know, probably my whole career. It's probably most I cried. Just because it means a lot to me. Like you just spend so much time putting into it, and to be able to, have the NFC North Championship in return for all the stuff that you've put into it. It's special, and it feels good, and it makes you appreciate kind of the hard road to get there.
I mean, you guys know, the fans know, there's a lot of hard work that goes into this day in and day out that a lot of people don't see, and to kind of come up short for years and years and years in a row, and then to reach this, and this is just the beginning, but just to reach division champs, there's not really words that can describe it. And I think I was looking at Taylor and we both just started crying. It's just like emotions overcoming you, because you don't realize how much it means to you until it happens,
I love that. Those two guys, they deserve all the success. They're a part of a unit that I would say they're the MVP of this entire football team.
Sure.
As they go, this offense and this team goes, and they played another great game on Sunday. We got Matt Broder joining us. It's Tuesdays with Matt Broder, where we ask him, our Detroit Lions beat reporter for Woodward Sports, his takeaways and some of his insight to what transpired over the weekend for the Lions. In Broder, this is a very special day because typically we break down wins, but today's different. We break down being NFC North champions.
That's huge. And you see, like you said, that offensive line, they really are the MVP of this team. The quarterback, the running backs, the skilled players are going to get all the credit or all the advertisement, the marketing. But that offensive line, this team rides and dies with them, and they came up big in this game against Minnesota. Actually, both lines, the offensive and the defensive line. Mm-hmm. It was just really special to see the Lions go out there, steal the NFC title from the Vikings, who held the title up until this point, go into their house, a really loud Minnesota Vikings, U.S. Bank Stadium, and just go take that trophy. It was a special Sunday for a lot of people here in Detroit and around the country, around the world, who've been waiting for this Lions win.
Broder, how impressed were you with the Lions' offensive line? Because it seems like when they're healthy, there's really no one in the NFL that can... I mean, I get it. They haven't played the 49ers yet or anything like that. But even the Minnesota Vikings, they were coming into this game as one of the best defenses in the NFL. They've been playing great lately. But I didn't hear Danielle Hunter's name all day. I didn't hear DJ Wanham's name all day except when he got hurt. And the running game obviously ran all over the Vikings. And Jared Goff had a clean pocket pretty much all game. Just how important is this offensive line to this team? And I'll add a second part to that question. How far can this Lions team go? How far can this offensive line, when presently constructed as healthy, how far can this offensive line take this Detroit Lions team?
So I'll start by answering your second question.
Yes.
The offensive line can take them to the Super Bowl. There's no reason that they can't. They're that dominant. They're that together as a unit. They've not only played together for a handful of time now, although they've had some injuries and haven't necessarily played consistently together. When they're healthy, they can go up against any defensive line in the league. Of course, the Niners, their defensive line, there are some really talented ones out there, but not many have played as good as the Minnesota Vikings. And even though Danielle Hunter wasn't necessarily getting to Jared Goff, they had a top 5 run defense, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery ran all over them too. The offensive line is huge, and that's why I think they can go. They can go far in this playoffs. Getting the 2 seed, maybe going and getting this one.
Of the best run defenses, but it's different when you're facing this offensive line. But one guy I do want to give love to, because Dave Montgomery's been great, but Jahmyr Gibbs has been incredible. And that man took another man's ankles so bad that he found a little note in his locker after the game that said, "Hey, buddy, we're going to need your piss." That's how that works.
Caleb Evans.
Yeah.
His ankles are broken.
NFL saw that clip and said, "Yep, you need to piss in a cup." So for Jahmyr Gibbs, your reaction, just how well he's been playing, because that dude he's the real deal.
I thought he was the difference maker on offense. Anytime the Lions needed a burst, and actually, I go back. Amon-Ra St. Brown played a huge role in this game too, but we're talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. Anytime you needed an explosive play or even that juke, that was on a 4th and 1. That was, they're trying to get the ball just to get a first down and move the chains. He manages to juke out DB Caleb Evans and gain another 15 or 20 yards. I think if he didn't get tripped up right there at the end, he's in the end zone for what would be a 3rd touchdown of the day. I know he hadn't had his 2nd yet, but it was everything. And that allows a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs playing with David Montgomery, allows Ben Johnson to do so many creative things. We saw the balance between the two almost throughout the game. And I remember a lot of people, they were tweeting at me in the third quarter, where's David Montgomery? Like, why are we going away from him? We got to keep pounding the rock. They were using that time to build Jahmyr Gibbs up to go try to get that lead back when they were down. And then at the end of the game, although it wasn't my favorite drive out of Ben Johnson, at the end of the game, they were handing it off to David Montgomery and trying to pound the rock and kill time. I thought they should have done more of that, maybe threw a few too many passes there under 5 minutes. But nonetheless, that balance between those two, behind the offensive line, against a top 5 rush defense, that's strength on strength. The Lions' strength won this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Broder, I want to shift to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, in the last 2 games, I think anybody can see that the most valuable defensive player over the last couple of games has been Ife Melifonwu. Yes, and you've been in the building all year. Did you see this coming at all, or are you just as surprised as everyone else?
Louis Riddick saw it.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. I can't lie there. I knew he was not a highly touted player, but one of those guys that the coaching staff liked, they trusted. He was very athletic and does a lot of good things, but he couldn't stay healthy. You know, transforming from a cornerback to a safety it isn't easy, especially in an Aaron Glenn defense. But to see him come alive like this, no, I didn't see it coming. And he's been the difference maker on that defense. And you see he's been playing well. That allows Kirby Joseph to roam center field and pick off 2 Nick Mullins passes. That allows the cornerbacks to blitz. Kendall Vildor had another great pass rush on Mullins. I think Dorsey did too, or Dorsey played a good game. The element that adds, especially in the box, coming up and rushing the passer and defending the run, that's wild. That's wild. And the last thing Aaron Glenn talked, I think it was Aaron Glenn. Yeah, he talked about how having him formerly be a cornerback, he's able to not only rush the passer and use his athleticism. He's 6'3", he's got long arms, but he's fine in coverage too if you need him to step in on a wide receiver or just read a pass like Kirby Joseph does. He can do a lot for this defense. It's huge.
Yeah, he's super lanky. And they got multiple guys in their secondary that can play multiple positions. Like that's the good thing about the players they have in-house. Now, sometimes it doesn't always equate to shutting down opponents. They gave up over 400 yards to Nick Mullins, but we got to say, though, Justin Jefferson, he's just different.
He's special.
Like, I got nothing for I can't sit here and pick apart the film and say, well, technically Kirby Joseph should have done this or Cam Sutton should have done this. Dude, he's just that great.
He is.
There was 2. It was a 2-on-1. He made a 3rd and 23 catch, whatever it was, to get the first down. I mean, I don't want to sit here and the number one thing is we got to run all over the place and hit the panic button. The secondary stinks. We know it's a weakness, but Broder, moving forward to next week, you got the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And they're coming off a loss to the Miami Dolphins. What's your confidence level now with kind of the top of the NFC in the Dallas Cowboys next week at home? They're on the road next week.
It's very confident. I think you want to take a lot of what you did in this game and take it to Dallas. I know you brought up the 400 passing yards, but they only allowed 17 rushing yards. Like, they made that team one-dimensional. And even if you have a superstar like Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb coming up, just knowing that your defensive line, your front 7, you don't have to worry about the rush that they're going to shut down. Tony Pollard hasn't been playing that great over the last couple of weeks. I don't think he's had a super impressive season. If you make Dak Prescott one-dimensional, granted, CeeDee Lamb's the number 1 wide receiver, but if you can start designing your defense or scheming up drives knowing, all right, we're good on the rush. We're not worried about Tony Pollard. That allows you to do so much in that secondary. That allows you to bring Iffy into the box. That allows you to it's like an effective pass rush. Even if you're not getting to the quarterback, just making them one-dimensional allows you to predict and act in that secondary like we saw Kirby Joseph do, Brian Branch, like we saw all those guys do.
And I think it helps you in the playoffs. If you could stop the run and you could run the football, there's already an advantage there.
And that's the path to the Dallas Cowboys. They struggle at defending the run. Mm-hmm. They got Michael Parsons. They got a good defense, don't get me wrong, but their weakest part is defending the run. We just talked about that being the strength. The strength of the Lions. Like, we haven't even talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo and
by the way,
Sam Laporta.
Amon-Ra, 12 catches over 100 yards.
Yeah, but that's like
it's Tuesday.
The balance of this team. Like, that. How do you predict that? I mean, it was, I think, 33 rushes, 40 passes. Lions held the ball for 38-some minutes. Like, it was not a perfect game, but you don't lose many games with those types of stats, and then winning the turnover battle 4-1.
I like the Lions' chances this week. I think you're facing the Cowboys, both teams. I think it's a perfect time for the Lions. They're heating up. They're playing well. Dallas Cowboys are kind of struggling. We'll see. They're at home, though. Dallas Cowboys are a great team at home. But thank you, Matt Broder.
You bet. And I don't know what Dan Campbell's record is now, but knock on wood, going against former teams or former coaches, he's doing pretty well.
Ooh,
so this is Dallas Cowboys, another team
Something to keep an eye on. Something to keep
Let's
an eye
go.
on. Thanks, Matt Broder.
You bet.
You can check all his stuff out, of course. Woodward nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Woodward in Maine.
Tuesdays. Mondays. Oh, Woodward in Maine. Tuesdays in this week will be Saturday. Saturday at 8 a.m.
Saturday. Gotcha.
Then we'll see how the playoff schedule shakes out.
And then, of course, follow him on X
playoffs.
at Matt
The playoff
Bro
schedule.
21.
Playoffs,
Stuff.
the Lions.
I
Let's
cannot
go.
believe it, guys. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll get into more Lions discussions here. Don't forget, 9 o'clock, 9:15, we'll be taking phone calls. I want to hear from you.